Okay. So what I did want to go over today was some of the basics in terms of adding things to Schoology. So first, I would encourage you to have Schoology open as on another tab as well, so that when I start talking about how to add things to this, you can follow along, maybe add some of your own stuff as we go. The four things I do want to talk about are Schoology's kind of baked-in tools, using Google. So how does Google work in Schoology? Adding your files, so if there's things that are on your computer or other links that you want to put in your classes, you go there. And then finally, if there's anything in Blackboard from a Blackboard class that you want to transfer over, I'll briefly touch on how to do that. All right, so Schoology has a few tools itself. So one of them in particular is the discussion board. And the discussion board is a very powerful tool because you can use it as an assessment. You can use it informally as an entrance ticket, exit ticket, free writing activity, a place for students that they can like post images or video of themselves or sound or things like that. And so there's a number of things in the discussion board that you can do. So to add it, so if I was in a folder like I am now, you can go to add materials or click this little plus sign with a dash if this is where you want it to go. And you're going to select add discussion. And under, hang on a second. Okay. All right, so you do need a title. And a description. So if I was, let's say this was like my tech assistant class, and I said student tech issues, and then maybe in description, you know, I could just put like a prompt. What are common student tech issues? How would you address them if a student asked? Right, and so I can add those things. And what's nice about this is that it's got a pretty robust editor. So if I want to make it bold, or if I wanted to like change the color, I can do that. You know, make it bigger so that it's more difficult for students to miss it. And then you can even import things. So if you wanted to have them discuss like a video or discuss like a Google Doc, you can go to insert content and add those things either through the Google Drive resource app if you're using a Google Doc, or through YouTube if there's a YouTube video that you want to search. So I don't know if you ever used the YouTube tool, but if you click on it, it'll give you this search engine. You can either insert the actual YouTube link or maybe you want to do troubleshooting, right? So basic troubleshooting techniques, top 10 PC issues, great. So you can click on it, and then under import, it would be like import as an embed, and then here it is. Okay, so if you wish, you can make this an actual assignment by checking enable grading. You can give it a due date. So if you want students to do this by a certain time, let's say like by the 14th. And then I know Schoology is constantly fun. So I know that Schoology, for whatever reason, likes to put 11:59 as all the times. But if you put 3 p.m., it will show up a little, you know, better on, I think, the calendar. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like midnight all the time. And then the options below are things like, you know, individually assigned. So whenever you see a 3 dot in anything, it means individually assigned. lock, so you can either enable or disable the assignment so they could see it. They just can't contribute or comment in there. Green means published. And then this, it's grayed out. So what this means is that students can see other responses before they participate. And if you like fill this in, that means that they need to post first and then they can see other student responses. So depending on how you want to use the discussion, you can enable and disable that. And the other kind of cool thing is this share discussion tool. And what this would do is you can put this discussion other classes or other courses that you teach. So if you wanted like multiple photography classes to have the same discussion, you can enable it. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
It is. And you can copy it to other courses without linking it. That's what this does. And so the discussion thing is really nice in that, it gives you a title. Okay, create, awesome. I'll disable that. So go to create, and it's going to put this little discussion part over here. Now you can't see the video, right? And so what it pulls is the title, but then also like the text that you put in there will show up in your little description. It gives you a due date so that if you look at the course calendar, I'll just put like, usually you can see in the updates menu. It would show up over here. See, we've got the discussion section so the students can see it in their calendar and know that they have to do it. And so when you click on it, right, so here's my video that I just added. And so this is what students would see, and then they can contribute and comment. And like I said, like they can also use this little editor and they can insert things as part of their discussion. They can insert links, they can create like little videos and audios, that sort of stuff, and they can post. And then depending on your course settings, other students can comment on those posts. And go from there, and you can decide to grade it or not. That's really up to you. So I went ahead and changed one of these. So I changed one of these to like what a graded assignment looks like. So I'll click that. Sorry, it takes a little bit of time to navigate. So this discussion, which is part of the module 1, so I changed it to be like grading now. And this one, because I changed it later, normally if it was graded, you have the option there'd be a box that you can click, and then that you can enter all the students' grades at once, or as you go, you would get like a student comment, and if you wanted to grade it, you would just click this little box, and then you can give a grade for this and even add a comment for yourself or a comment that you show with students and hit submit. So as you're reading the discussion that the students are posting and their responses, you can grade them within the discussion section. So I think this is a really cool tool that can be utilized for just a lot of different things. So that's the discussion module. I'm really big fan of it.
Cool. That's very nice.
So the other one that I think you will use like a ton is the Pages tool. So I'm also going to pop in, so Dr. Newell's here, so good to see you. So this is the slideshow for what we're referring to. So Pages is probably where a lot of your materials are going to get posted because there's a lot of versatility and a lot of ways to use Pages for students to like see things. If you're in Schoology, unfortunately, if you're posting links and like files, unlike in like the Blackboard days, right? Like in Blackboard, you could add like you could add like a little update thing and include a link to download it, but you can also put like a text description or other instructions, and then students would see the instructions and they see the download link. In Schoology, if you're putting links or downloads, like that's all you really see. But in Pages, that's the way that you can add a whole bunch of different content in one place. So when you use the tool, you can yeah, I'll actually show you a page. Okay, so I'll go back to my unit. So let's see. So if you go to pages, you go to add materials and go to add a page. So you do have to do a page title. And then down here is like an editor. So if you were posting, let's say, a PowerPoint or a Google slide, so you say view the following slideshow, and then contribute into the discussion board, right? And much like the other editor, you can bold, you can, highlight it in yellow, you can like set like a, red text background, like make it really big. Again, we're trying to make sure that students like see this stuff, right? And then, oh, hang on, sorry. There we go. I lost my cursor. So then we can also add other stuff. Like if we want to add like a link to a website, you can use this to add a link to a website and it'll put it in your page. But the most powerful thing that you could do, and you're like, what's the difference? We got a link here and a link here, right? So this is another way to add a link. That's fine. But the more powerful stuff is your Google Drive resource app is baked into the pages. So if I open that, I now, connected my Google Drive. So this is great. So even if I wanted to do like today's PowerPoint, you do need to know like the name of this document. It makes life a lot easier because unfortunately the navigating function here is not really great. So if I wanted to embed, let's say this is today's PowerPoint. So I click on that little box and I would go to import as an embed. Just one note, mention it again, we talk about Google. Import link doesn't work because of how our accounts are set up with Google. I don't know. It's dumb. Import embed is what you want. And so that will then, you'll see this little yellow. And what this yellow thing is your slideshow. So if you want to make it bigger, you can use a little dot here and make it bigger on your page, which is great. Right? And so, and then below that, you can do things like you can add a file. So if you wanted to attach like a PowerPoint or something for students or a Word document, right? You can just simply, obviously you need to look for it, but, all right, so I'm just going to add this to it. All right, so now this is going to be part of my page. You could add even another link. I guess another place to add links. This one's a little bit better because you could also add an embed code. So if you went to, let's say, like Edpuzzle, you can put like the code in there for an Edpuzzle. And we give a title. Right. You can also add an audio video recording. You can do that too. And then if you wanted to use woo, you could also use the external tool if you wanted to add something like Turnitin. If you want to use Turnitin as part of this thing, right? You can do that. We haven't really talked too much about Turnitin, but that's fine. All right, don't worry about it. Yes. Wait, hang on. Let me just go and finish this real quick. The other thing to make attention to is this little icon over here. If this is grayed out like it is, then the page will show up like a little link and the students can click on it and then the page would open up. If you click this to make it like colorized, this will then display the page what they call inline, which means they're going to put it in the folder. So I'm going to do all that. I'm going to create it. So it's going to load. It's going to do its little thing. And so here's my page, right? So it displays it. It's nice and big. And I also have that document that I just posted to as well, right? So if I was adding like another document or a file, like here it is. So students, so you could put the directions like download this file and edit it or do what have you, and then attach it, right? And then students are given the option to like click on it, and that will, as you can see, download it again. They could also view it, and what viewing would do is open it up as a, okay, fine, it still do its thing, fine. We'll go back to that later. It'll give you like a view like within Schoology that parents can see and that sort of stuff. So like pages is going to be kind of cool. Like if I wanted to if I wanted to add like an ed puzzle or something like that, I can also add that to my page like as well. What you want to look for particularly is like you have an ed puzzle assignment you're looking for specifically in my classes. All right, so when you click on something in ed puzzle and you go to share, right? So here's the embed code here for your ed puzzle. So you copy it and then edit this real quick. And so under this link, the one that has the embed code option, this is where you would paste it and you go ed puzzle, attach, save changes. All right, and so now here's my ed puzzle. Unfortunately, this looks a little not great because you have to click on that little button there and then you can see the player. Right, and get started, and then you can do the ed puzzle thing. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that per se.
Sometimes across the.
All right, so it works. Anyways, so that's really the basics on pages. It's certainly something that I think you'll use a lot, especially the other options that you have to make it look like a nice looking presentation for students. So yeah. All right, Robert, you got a question?
Yes. So I live and die by Google Forms. Okay. So
Yes.
like if I go in my thing where I tried to add resources from my Google Drive, it will show that just about everything that I've did. Google Docs, slides, they're all available, but the forms are not available because they require the link. Is there a corollary in Schoology that would be the equivalent of a Google form that I could?
So, well, part of it depends. I think you can use if you're doing stuff with like open-ended questions or written responses, then discussion boards might be a good substitute. But and also Schoology has like its own multiple choice and all that stuff. But you don't really need to lose the form, right? Like the thing in
So I would
Schoology
just
this time.
just put the link in like a Word doc. I couldn't actually just download the
Oh, you
form
could
itself.
here.
I could.
So
I
what you
could.
would do, yeah. So you would in Drive you'd pull up your form. So like this is the form here, and then you can click on the eyeball, and that'll give you the blank version of it. And I'm going to copy this link. And there's a few ways that you could do this in Schoology. The easiest way is just to go into the add materials and now go to add file / link / whatever and paste the link here. And then you could choose to display it within Schoology, which means that when it'll show up in the course, and then when you click on it, you're still within Schoology, and it's going to open it up in like an embedded browser. And then you want it to be published. That's good. All right, so I'm going to add this. And now here's my link. And when I click on it, it should, fingers crossed. So here's my form.
And
No muss,
will
no
the,
fuss.
will the kids need to be signed into their FCPS email to access that? Or?
So the kids should be, like, their Schoology should be attached to their FCPS schools accounts. And so when they click on that link, because they're already logged in, they should see the form with no problems. So that's certainly one way to do it. And you can add this into the page as well. So if you wanted to give like more instructions, but you want to add that into the page, you could do the same thing in pages where, welcome to week 2 of Schoology, like complete this form. And you're just going to add that link here. Right, and then, so there it is here. Right, so if a student looks at this page, here's the Google form here. So if you wanted to try and draw more attention to it, you could make that link as part of a page in a number of ways by giving the instructions here and then having the form, here, and then voila, there it is. So yeah, forms you could still use, and then you'd have to go back into your Google Drive and then look at the editing form, the editing version of the form, and then go to the spreadsheets and stuff. But yeah, as of now, Schoology doesn't exactly have like the same kind of forms. You could use part of the tools, right? Like you could just use their assessment tools or their question, their quiz and assessment type forms. You could probably do the same thing. But if you already had the forms created, you would just simply create links in Schoology for students to fill out. Sound good?
Thank you.
Adam,
No,
I still have files that are sitting on the H drive that are not on the Google Drive. Is there any problem with attaching those kinds of files as well?
No. I'm going to talk about that actually soon.
Okay.
Give me, yes, that you're all good with that.
Okay.
All right, so pages, yeah, totally good. I love pages. We're going to talk more about pages like next year. Okay, using Google. So I was showing earlier that you can attach Google documents in pages. One of the other tricks in Schoology that you can use is to add Google resources directly. So under Add Materials and Import from Resources. Now you see the same screen like you would in the Resources section, and you click on Apps. And Google Drive Resource App should be the one that starts up. And now you'd want to find your file. So if I was going to add a syllabus to my course and I already had one set to go, it's going to find it. This is the one I want. So I'm going to check the little box. And then you do have multiple options here, which I'll talk about. So importing file, now this is what should be working, but currently is not for some silly reason. What this will do is that Schoology will take your Google Doc and turn it into a Word document, and it will add it to your course. It'll add it as a link, and you can click on it, and you can see the document. Same thing with slides or PDFs or drawings. It's going to just turn it into something that like parents can see, like a local document. The downside to this, by the way, is that if you edit the syllabus or the other document, so if I went back, open up the syllabus in Google Drive and then like made some changes, those changes won't be in this import file upload, because it's just going to take like a static version of the document like as it is now. Okay, so you can also import private link, and that will just create a simple link that students can click on for any Google Docs that you want them to access. You just have to make sure that it's like the share, like you have to make sure that the document is shared. So notice how it says shared next to the document name. Otherwise, the students will click on it and they won't be able to access it. And then the last thing is import embed. Again, this thing should theoretically work to do exactly what the file function does, but put it in your folder, without having to click on it to open it, but I'll try it. Maybe it'll work. I don't know. Cross my fingers. I'll show you what it looks like if it doesn't work. For some reason, this is stuck. I put in a ticket request to see, you know, if it'll work. Maybe it will. All right, so it's doing this little thing. So it goes through this. It goes through this little refresh thing. And when it works, this window will close. But as you can see, it's kind of hanging right now. So I will show you what this looks like. Alrighty, so I did one already in my personal course. So under course information, that's what this is, right? So I uploaded it using the Google Resources app. And this is what it looks like. So the pro side of this is that parents can see these documents without needing the school Google account. Right, so this is my syllabus. It's already embedded. And we're good to go. Though I think it didn't, I don't know. I think this part actually is up on this page. Like sometimes the documents don't translate as well as you'd like, but. All right, so it's still doing its thing. Fine, whatever. I think import private link works too, by the way. Okay. Let's see. No, it's already shared. All right, so if I did this as like import private link, it'll do this. It should go through the little options here. And then, all right. Yeah, I'm going to put in a ticket for that again. Okay, that's how Google should work. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's hanging there. It wasn't yesterday when I was putting this together, but it is now. Personally, I do like adding Google resources through the Pages tool. I think you can add instructions, organize it better, like make it stand out. I think those things are probably a little bit better, to be honest. But you can still just put your Google stuff in there, however you wish. You can't put, I don't think you can put forms in there like that, though. I think forms you still have to add through the link, as I showed you before. Okay, let's see. So we talked about this. Now, as far as files go, so if you had a file on your H drive or somewhere else that you want to put into your Schoology classes, number one, I would totally recommend that you add them into the resources section. So this gives you the same sort of options. So if I want to add basically anything that I could put into my courses, so if I just wanted to add a file, that would be this, and attach it. So I don't know, let's see. Let's just find a PowerPoint file just for fun. Let's see. Yep. Virtual orientation, sure, fine. Okay, so it's going to upload the file. So it's going to do its little thing. I think my virtual orientation video is actually really long, so that's why it's taking its sweet time.
So Adam, I'm sitting here looking at this from the standpoint of students thinking, oh my gosh, this is so small. And so if you hit Control Plus, are you able to make your screen bigger so that what we're seeing is bigger?
Oh, like if I was looking at like the courses like this?
Just the whole screen that I am seeing. The whole screen that I'm seeing, there you go.
I mean, this is 100%. I think I tend to leave my Chrome at like 90%, but yes.
Okay.
It actually looks a lot nicer, come to think of it. All right, we're still uploading. Silly. I definitely picked the wrong document to try and add. Let's try and add a simpler one. All right, let's do this one, sure. This is a small one. That's better. Okay, so now I have this document. I can even edit it a little bit, edit the details. And so now it's in, where'd it go? I just had it. Oh, here it is. Silly. Okay, so now it's in my resources, and then I can click on this little box and either go to edit or, sorry, edit and go to add to course. And now I could put it in my personal course. Oops, import from resources, import. Right, and so it's going to add it into my personal class. So there it is. And now just like everything else in Schoology, I can click and drag it and then put it wherever it is I want it to go. So I want to put it in unit 3. I'm going to drop that off. And so now it is. Here it is. So that's one way to do it in resources. And what's nice about it is that you can, the stuff in resources will stay throughout, like not just next year, but beyond. The courses, like this course is going to stay next year. Whatever you put into your personal course is going to stay. But next year, your regular courses will probably be archived, and you can access them too. That's not really that big of a deal, but you're going to want to, if you start building the course next year, you're going to actually want to do like the reverse, where if I open up a folder here and I want this document, you can save the document to resources, right? And I could put it in here, save a copy. So now it's saved in my resources that I can use later. So even if something happens to this course after next year, it's still in my resources that I can use later, right? There it is. All right, let's go back there. So another way to add files, I'm really populating stuff in here, is to go at it this way, like within the course, and use the add file /link /external tool. And you would just click on file, and then you would attach whatever file it is that you're looking for. So same kind of thing. You can also use copy to courses, so that if you upload it once, you can copy it to multiple courses at the same time. All right, now if you want to add like a straight up link for some reason, you would use the link tool. And again, you can put whatever it is that you want, wherever it is you want it to go. So even if I was, like I want to put like a Pear Deck, that's what this is. All right. And then depending on how you set this, if you leave this like colored as opposed to like grayed out, this will display it in Schoology. So not everything displays nicely in Schoology, just as a heads up. Like I tried to link a CNN article and it was like, nope, not happening. And then copy to courses. If you want to add it to another course, you can, do that too. All right, add that. All right, so here's my Pear Deck quiz. And when I click on it, it's going to open it up within Schoology. And here's my Pear Deck player. All right, and so I can, do my thing. So I am picking up where I left off, but yeah. So here's all my, Pear Decky kind of stuff. If I wanted to start from, this is actually the beginning. Look, Great Wall of China, scroll around. So, anywho. And then you can ask the question there. So if you wanted to use like student paste Pear Decks, you can just copy the link from Pear Deck that they give you and put it in Schoology. And now the kids don't even have to go to like joinpd.com and enter the code or whatever. They don't have to leave Schoology. They can just go ahead and do this within Schoology. Now they do have this option for any of these links to pop it out. And that will pop it out in the full browser. Right? So, so if I wanted to still see this as like a full screen Pear Deck, I can do that too. Or I just want to view it, in the browser. Okay, so that's links. And then the last tool or item that's on here, maybe Robert might be more relevant for you, is how to do things with Turnitin.com, which we'll talk a little bit more, I think, next year. We're talking about Turnitin. But these are external tools. So you would click on Turnitin. Now, next year, we do have a county subscription to Turnitin. Right, and so you can enable grading. We can set it like a due date. You can do all that kind of stuff, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You don't have to change anything here. It says custom. These are already filled in for you. You just go to submit. And then you see, so this is the Turnitin app, right? So what the students see is this, but their submissions, like their ability to submit their paper. And then you see, like, you know, the submissions as they show up in Turnitin. And then you can get like the grading report if you wish. You can mark it, you know. I actually have not really used Turnitin a lot, but this is how you would access it in Schoology. For which we have a countywide account for it. So if you're doing any kind of research work that you want to make sure that academic honesty is preserved, you can use Turnitin in your class. Okay. I think, yep, external tools, yep. All right, as far as Blackboard goes, they talk about this a little bit in the modules. It's on the training class. But Blackboard, you can archive your classes. So if this is a Blackboard course that I want to archive, let's say this one. There's a packages utility function and then export. And you can see I've kind of already done this a few times, but you go to export package and then click whatever it is you want to take out of Blackboard. Even if it's like just select all, sure, whatever. And then you go to submit. And when you do, Blackboard will give you this little message that says that it's creating your archive. And it'll give you a zip file to download. And then within Schoology, in your resources section, under this little drop down would be import. And you would select Blackboard. And you could put it into a new collection. That's like these little filing cabinets, or add it to an existing one. So maybe this is part of USVA, sure. This is going to tell you like what it will support in terms of test options, like test question types. And then you attach the file. And so these export files are basically like, it says export file, yada, yada, yada. Those are the ones that you want. Right? And so it's going to do its little thing, and then you can click import, and it'll do it. And then it'll add it, like I already did. Like this one, it's kind of fake, but this is like an assignment, like a test that I created in Blackboard. There you go. So that was my little test, yes. And then you can edit it, edit questions. Like this turns into a regular Schoology assessment that you can then either build on, add questions, like do whatever, and then assign to students. So if there are Blackboard assessments that you have, you can add them within Schoology, as well as anything else in Blackboard that you are interested in adding. All right, so that is really it as far as the formal presentation for today. So are there any other questions?
No, that's great. Thank you so much, Adam.
Very good. So that is the long and short of how to use the Schoology stuff.
Thanks, Adam.
Robert? Yep, you're welcome. Anything else? Anything else?
I'm going to have to roll myself. See
Very good.
Thanks so much. We'll see you later.
All right. See you, everybody.